Hey, how's it going? This is Aladdin from Khalifa Genetics, and today we're going to talk about cannabis seeds, facts versus urban legends. Many growers say that it is possible to determine the quality of cannabis seed based on its color, shape, pattern, size, and so on. Is it really? Well, there are certain characteristics that can allow you guys to assess the quality of cannabis seeds. But there are unfortunately many urban legends out there, many myths that are totally untrue. So today, we're gonna go over all the main points that will help you guys determine the quality of your beans. Stay tuned. Alright growers, first we're going to talk about the main myths surrounding cannabis seeds, and then we will look at all the indicators of quality. Well, one of the biggest myths out there is that cannabis seeds should have beautiful tiger stripes in order for them to be very highly viable. Well, these stripes are actually part of the outer coating of the seeds. And some seeds have a coating that can actually very easily come off. Others have a more resistant coating, and others are totally stripeless. So what that means is that it only comes down to the strain, to the variety, and it's definitely not a determinant of quality. Likewise, some growers say that the darker the seed is, the better. Well, it is true that some white seeds can be very hard to sprout. White seeds usually don't germinate very well. However, gray seeds or beige seeds may sometimes have better germination rates than dark brown ones. You know what, just like, humans, that have like different complexions, different skin colors, so are seeds. It just depends on the strain, once again. The bigger the seed, the better. Well, there is some truth to the statement. However, the size of the seed depends on a lot of different factors. It depends on the strain. It depends on how healthy the plant is, if the plant was grown indoors or outdoors, or how heavily pollinated the plant is as well. For example, indica strains and Asian hemp strains as well produce giant seeds. However, sativas and ruderalis varieties tend to produce much smaller seeds, so that is completely strain dependent. Also, some seed companies heavily pollinate their plants in order to maximize their profits, and that is something which should be avoided because it lowers the quality of the seeds. However, most of the time I would say the size of the seed is not an indicator of quality, although it might be in some specific cases. Can you tell? Another myth is that some growers think that they can tell the sex of a seed. By just looking at a seed, they know whether or not it's a male or a female. Well, you know what? That is something which would be so handy for a lot of people. However, professional growers and professional breeders as well pay a lot of money to get their plants tested at a very early stage. And that's because they have no idea whether the seeds that they were working with were female or male. So yeah, it's a big myth as well. All right, guys, now that we have dispelled some of the main myths surrounding wheat seeds, let us look at all the signs that can help growers pick the most viable seeds. First one, firm to the touch. I have a seed from an indica landrace from Afghanistan here, and what's going to tell you whether a seed is good is that if you apply a moderate amount of pressure, you place the seed in between your thumb and index fingers and apply a moderate amount of pressure. Okay, not too hard, but not too soft, Have to apply enough strength. If it's easy to squash And if the seed feels a little soft, then it's not gonna be a good seed, and chances are it's not gonna be very viable. If it's firm to the touch and hard to squash, it means it's pretty good. Even look. Uneven or deformed seeds can be very challenging to sprout or lead to having stunted plants. It is much better to pick even looking seeds in order for you guys to optimize your germination rates. Immature and empty seeds, green seeds, are immature, and white cannabis seeds are aborted seeds. Both have a very low germination rates. However, some seeds that are partially green can still sprout, because often some beginner growers, beginner breeders, harvest their beans too soon when the tip of the seeds is still kind of greenish. Although these have a lower germination rate than fully mature seeds, most of them should still germinate. Old seeds now. There is no way to know how old a seed is just by looking at it. Old seeds tend to take a lot more time to sprout, and sometimes they do not sprout at all. Under optimal storage conditions, seeds can remain highly viable for up to 10 years and even more. However, seeds that have been exposed to heat and humidity can become much less viable in under a couple of years. It's a very fast process if the conditions are not optimal. Fortunately, reputable breeders often refresh their seed stocks every year or so. Now, the provenance of the seeds. Although most growers buy hybrid seeds, just like this old school hybrid, which is a skunk number 1, while some prefer to grow the old land races. Land races can either have an excellent germination rate or a low one, according to where these strains originate from. Hash plant cultivars, hash plant seeds coming from countries like Morocco, Lebanon, Afghanistan, or Pakistan can sprout very easily and very quickly as well. That's because these come from very hot and dry environments. So the seeds have no choice but to sprout even when the weather is still kind of, dry. If they get a little bit of moisture, then they have to sprout. On the other hand, seeds coming from places where the winter is very harsh, such as Russia, Kazakhstan, or the Himalayas, may be trickier to sprout. That is because these seeds have a much thicker coat that prevents them from sprouting before the winter is over. After watching this, I hope that you guys know exactly what to look for in order to pick the seeds that have the best viability. However, I would like to add something. Seed viability is important, but it is not nearly as important as the quality of the genetics. Sometimes you can get seeds that have a 100% germination rate, and yet you can still get disappointing results with these. Therefore, it is very important to source your seeds from reputable breeders. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is it for today. Please give it a like if you've loved it. And I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Peace.